I'm super excited about tonight because we are talking about controlling the blood sugar naturally. And this is something that so many people have an issue with. And probably about 90% of people have issues with blood sugar without even knowing that they have a blood sugar issue. So welcome everyone. My name is Dr. Becca. I'm a naturopath, a natural holistic healing practitioner or alternative healing practitioner, and I help people get to the root cause of their symptoms, and my passion is to help you be healthier. So I'm very excited about tonight's topic in the lab is controlling your blood sugar naturally and the balance. So I did some research because I used to with every product that I've ever taken, I would go in and read the ingredients and research what the ingredients does for the body. And then I got away from it for a while because, people they want to know the time and not how the watch works. So I kind of got away from it. I came back into doing it because it is just amazing knowing these ingredients and knowing what it's doing on the cellular level. So let's get into it. So welcome everyone. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule and tuning in tonight. So let me ask you a question. Have you ever ate a meal and then about 30 minutes later you wanted to just crash and take a nap? Or on the flip side, have you ever eaten a meal and then you have this energy for the rest of the day? I'm sure we've all experienced that. And that is also it's all with our blood sugar and the foods that we're eating. So not only that I'm going to cover the foods that, the different types of foods that we're going to be eating that helps control, but also sleep, stress, and exercise, and how that helps with our blood sugar as well. Put a finger up for each one that it might be you. If you have multiple of them, then we need to address the blood sugar and saying, okay, let's look at diet, nutrition, lifestyle, stress, working out, everything that we've covered last week in the detoxification and lifestyle, and even in the week before on decreasing inflammation. So if you get irritable and you have mood swings or you get hangry before you're eating or you need food, blood sugar instability. If your hormones feel like they're all over the place, energy crashes after a meal, also unbalanced blood sugars. Cravings of sugar, carbs, especially in the afternoon or late night. If you're a late night snacker, then that's also controlled with blood sugar. Difficult concentrating or brain fog, shakiness, dizziness, lightheadedness, cause low blood sugars. Headaches that improve after you eat also can be a sign of unbalanced blood sugar. Increased thirst, frequent urination, that's usually happening when we are into more of the diabetic stage of things. Unexplained weight gain or weight loss, trouble sleeping or waking up between 2 and 3 in the morning, it's also a blood sugar issue as well. And then also anxiety or restlessness definitely has imbalances. So if you have multiple of these, you're gonna want to stay tuned and keep on listening because I can help you with certain lifestyle and then also with the balance as well. So let's first talk about the foods we eat. We have the proteins, we have the carbs, and we have the fats. When we eat these proteins, carbs, and fats, we're not consuming proteins, carbs, and fats. The enzymes break it down into smaller portion or smaller sizes. So the proteins become amino acids. The carbohydrates become glucose and the fats are fatty acids. And that is what's utilizing in our body. So it's not what we eat, but what our body can assimilate. We've said that a lot through the trainings, that it's not what you eat. It's not even what you absorb, but what your body can assimilate and utilize for building blocks. When the body can utilize and break it down and use it for building blocks, then our body can actually work at a much higher octane when we give it the right materials. And our gut actually produces GLP-1 in the gut with the types of foods that we're eating that can stabilize our blood sugars. Our body, if you've probably all experienced this, even if you're the cleanest eater, but there's like a wheel. So you have your blood sugar If your blood sugar spikes, then the pancreas produces insulin, and then it leads to fat storage, and then your hormones kind of become a little out of whack as well. So after the blood sugar spikes, what happens next? It goes down the wheel, and then you have a crash. And then when you have the crash, your energy crashes, your cortisol goes up, and then you have hormone chaos in that way. So spike, insulin spike or blood sugar spikes, blood sugar crashes, and then we have the low energy and cravings. And when we have low energy and cravings, what do we reach for? More sugar. And then when we have more sugar, then the insulin starts, the pancreas produces more insulin, and then it goes forth. So let's talk about the ingredients in the balance and how it helps. So it's this natural GLP-1, not only that aids in fat metabolism, it aids in how the body utilizes sugar as well for energy. Also, metabolism curbs the appetite. And did you know that this can help with the LDL, your cholesterol as well? Yeah, I know, that's something pretty cool. So we're gonna start with the first ingredient, and that is GBB. So it carries the fatty acids. That's why I started with the protein, carbs, and fats. So the fats are breaking down into fatty acids. So it carries the fatty acids into the mitochondria. So every cell has a battery in it, or multiple batteries, which is a mitochondria. So this is where a lot of people get clogged up and their energy is not producing, the energy is down on the mitochondria level. So it carries the fatty acids into the mitochondria where it burns fat for fuel. So it enhances fat utilization, especially during exercise. So it's really, really beneficial if you're taking this during exercise as well, and between meals or before a meal. So because when we're exercising, mainly our body, what it does, it goes towards the quick available fuel that's in our bloodstream. Don't you want it goes into that fat storage and utilize that for energy to have more lean muscle mass? Well, that's what GBB does. It goes into the fat store and utilizes that as energy. So pretty wild. I want to explain something a little bit more. So when we eat food, then our pancreas produces insulin. And that insulin needs to take, so I'll use this. The insulin is like a taxi. So that taxi is taking on all the glucose and transporting it to the areas of the body. First and foremost, it has to transport to the muscles. Now, if the muscle bellies are full, it goes to the liver for later use to have energy. So when we need that quick energy, it will take it from the liver to the muscles for us to use it. So if the muscle is full, then it goes into the liver, and most of the time people have clogged up livers, and because it has over 500 functions, everything has to go through that, all right? So if the liver is full, then it has to go to the fat storage. So if we're not moving on a regular basis and moving our body, it's so important. I preach this all the time. Move more, just move more. I don't care, just get up every single hour and do 10 body squats, do push-ups on, the desk, on the wall, do jumping jacks, go for a little walk. Just move the body throughout the day. Don't wait to the end of the day to do workouts, because the body is going to utilize that energy in the muscles first, and then it goes into from the fat cell. If you use all that energy in the muscle, it has to go to the liver, take that energy from the liver to go into the muscle, and that's utilized, and then it needs to go from the fat storage to the muscles. So if you want to burn fat and not just calories, move the body more. The GBB helps with the fat metabolism with the exercise. Another ingredient in the balance is vanadium. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It helps support healthy blood sugar levels, so it literally acts like insulin, and also helps your muscles and fat cells pull the sugar, the glucose, out of the blood and utilize it for energy. So the GBB helps with the fat to utilize as energy. The vanadium helps with the sugar to use as energy, and also helps support weight management, improving your body's use of the sugar. Helps your body responds better to the insulin, especially in the liver, the kidney, and the fat tissue, which can help lower your blood sugar levels between meals. Pretty cool, huh? So it helps lower the blood sugar levels between meals. There are studies that shown using Vanadium found that it helps lower fasting blood sugar by as much as 40% and reduce the amount of insulin needed by about 30% in people with type 1 diabetes after 30 weeks use. So people with type 2 diabetes also saw improvement in their average long-term blood sugar, the A1C, and dropped their LDL cholesterol. So not only that it helps lower the blood sugar naturally, but it also helps reduce the LDL, which is considered the bad cholesterol in the body. So it's just taking the ingredients and allowing the body to work how it's designed to work by giving it the materials and the building blocks for it to work better. So it helps reduce the appetite. What was really cool is that the vanadium is not necessarily directly from is not a fat burner like GBB is, but it helps stabilize the blood sugar and can improve body composition because it's utilizing the sugar within the blood. So next ingredient is delphinol, and it's been shown to lower the blood sugar both in fasting and after eating. So great not only for taking it during a workout, but also if you're doing intermittent fasting, it really helps as well because it helps lower the blood sugar and also before a meal or between meals. And it helps smaller blood sugar spikes. So when we're going through the day, if our blood sugar is spiking, it's that wheel. So it spikes, it crashes, it stores fat, and then our energy crashes, and then we reach for the sugar again. So we have less of this roller coaster with the delphinol, which is, I think, the Mackay berry, that the extract from it. So they have less sugar spikes in between meals, and it also slows down the sugar absorption from the food. So it doesn't have the spikes because it slows down the absorption. It helps your cells and insulin better so sugar can be turned into energy more efficiently. It helps improve fat cell function and metabolism flexibility, or metabolic flexibility, both which is key for fat loss and energy balance. So metabolic flexibility, what that is how your body adapts to stress. So we can have physical stress, emotional stress, environmental stress, and think of it as a bucket or a cup of water filled to the rim, and whenever we come with a stressor, it overflows or knocks over. But it helps control and lower the stress level and the inflammation level in the body, so we have more flexibility, our metabolic functions. The metabolic functions, it could be heart rate, it could be regulating the body temperature. All of those are metabolic flexibility. So if you ever have a smartwatch or a smart ring that you can measure your heart rate variability, and that is the metabolic flexibility that your body has. The more flexible, the healthier you are, that you can adapt to stresses in the body. So it really helps with the stressors. Reduces oxidative stress, inflammation, which links to obesity and spikes the insulin levels as well. Okay, last ingredient, amino pump. Now that helps body burn the stored fat. So we have the little taxi, muscle, liver, fat. It goes straight to the fat, which we want, right? From the stored fat to burn it as energy, and it sends signals from your fat cells that encourage it to just release the fat. So we have receptors on every cell, and it sends signals to release that fat from the fat cells to utilize it to burn for energy. Now, fat is a very, it has a lot of energy to burn. You know, you have carbohydrates that is a quick burn. Fat is a lot of energy, and it also stabilizes energy throughout the day. Also, the amino pump helps your muscles use sugar better. So not only it uses fat better, but it uses sugar better in the body. It improves how insulin works and helps sugar move from the blood into the muscles, which lowers your blood sugar levels. It helps prevent extra fat from building up, and it keeps your metabolism working properly. So it literally helps from fat getting into the fat cells to keep it in the cycle, in the blood to use for muscles, and to, if it stores into the liver, to transport it back to the muscles to utilize it for energy. So it's pretty cool. Also, another cool thing about a mental pump, it boosts your nitric oxide, which is a vasodilator, helps with circulation, it helps with blood flow, which brings nutrients to the body. So it's pretty cool. So also delivers sugar and nutrients to your cells more effectively, further aiding in glucose metabolism. So fun facts about blood sugar that you might not know. So number one, you don't have to eat sugar to have high blood sugar. Poor sleep, lack of movement, all of those can spike the blood sugar. Let's talk about stress here. We lost the light. So stress, the body, when it's in fight or flight, it does not know if you are running from a bear or if you are stressed because you have a deadline for work. It does not know. It just knows that you're in fight or flight. So what happens when your body is in this stress mode? Well, biologically, the body says, I need energy to run away from the bear. So when the body goes, I need energy, it takes the sugar and pumps it into the bloodstream to utilize it to run. But most of the time we are stressed because of a deadline and we're sitting at work and we're stressing and we're not utilizing the muscles. So what happens? It stores it as fat. So that is probably one of the biggest things why people cannot lose weight is their stress level is so high and they're doing everything else right. They're eating right. They're maybe exercising, they're walking, but their stress is high and they're producing more and more of the insulin. And then the insulin, pancreas is producing insulin and that insulin goes, I give up. I resist you. I don't, no longer am hearing your signals anymore and I'm going on strike. And that's when diabetes happens because it just is tired. It's not giving it the energy to do its job because it's overworked and it's not sending it to all the areas in the body. So that's one of the biggest things is for the blood sugar. Another thing that you can do to help blood sugar regulation is walking after a meal. And that walking after a meal, because we just ate, we have all this nutrients in and we want to use the muscles to burn it instead of it being stored as fat. So a lot of times we eat dinner, we're tired, we want to sit in front of the TV and just relax. But I tell you, take a 10-minute walk before you sit down and watch your favorite show. And that will do so good for your blood sugars. Number 3, your muscles act like a sponge. So the more muscle mass you have, the better your body can utilize insulin to burn that sugar off. So I always say, dump those little pink dumbbells and pick up heavy weights and start lifting weights, especially women over 40, and lift heavy. You're not going to get bulky at all. Women, when we lift weights, we actually shrink down. Men, just biologically, when they lift weights, they kind of swell a little bit. So it's almost impossible for women genetically to get bulky unless they're taking steroids. So plus you're utilizing the blood sugar much more efficiently when you have more lean muscle. And even at rest, you're burning more calories and more sugar at rest. And you have more of a flexibility. So if you do eat sweets, when you have more muscle, it's not going to store as fat because you have more muscle to burn that energy up. Okay, number 4, a bad night's sleep can make your body insulin resistant as someone like a type 2 diabetes. There was a study out of Chicago that they showed that just one night of poor sleep spiked their insulin enough that showed that they were pre-diabetic. That's temporarily. One night of bad sleep spikes your insulin that much. Think of multiple nights and weeks and months and years, how much that is doing to our blood sugars. And plus, when we're sleeping, we get to sleep earlier that night. That's when our body detoxes between 10 and midnight. We produce the HGH, the human growth hormones that help us burn fat while we're sleeping. Number 5, protein and fiber slows the absorption. So when you're eating protein and fiber, it keeps your blood sugar pretty stable throughout the day. So just think of when your first meal of the day, if it's 6 a.m., 1 p.m., whatever your first meal of the day, make sure that it has high protein and fiber in it and it keeps the blood sugar steady. Now, experiment with it. have high protein and fiber first meal of the day, and then another day have like a bagel and orange juice, and see how that you're craving more sugar throughout the day when you have things that spike your insulin first thing in the morning or the first meal. So the first meal of the day is important, because you're breaking the fast. So protein and fibers, first meal of the day. Okay, number 6, we're gonna be wrapping it up here. Dehydration. So dehydration raises blood sugar. When our bodies and our cells are depleted of the water, then the cells start to cling together. There's less oxygen that flows through and less nutrients, and then it causes blood sugar spikes throughout that. So drink plenty of water. It's not just the water. Make sure that you have electrolytes. Number 7, do you know that you can hack your blood sugar? Like up to 70%. Yes. So just by eating in the right combination, when you're sitting down at a meal. So you want to have your protein and fiber first, and fats, and then carbohydrates last. So that helps reduce the blood sugar spikes, literally up to 70%. If you want even greater percentage, have apple cider vinegar before your meal, because the vinegar also helps stabilize the blood sugar and it won't spike. This is a thing that a lot of people do not like, the taste of apple cider vinegar. So I tell them to eat a pickle, because that is fermented in the in vinegar, and that will also help. And that's probably why they put it in restaurants. Maybe they don't even know. That can help. So eat the pickle first and then eat the meal. Number 9, we're going to 10. We're almost done here. Artificial sweeteners. Not good. Not good at all. They actually spike your blood sugar even more, plus wreak havoc on your microbiome. So it's 3 times as sweet, 3 times that will spike the blood sugar, and it causes you to crave more sugar. The artificial sweeteners, not good. And then lastly, if you're doing fruit smoothies, make sure that you're using the fuel for the protein source, because it has a whole fiber blend in it that stabilizes the blood sugar. If you're just using whey protein that doesn't have the fiber, it will spike the insulin in the blood sugar and cause more cravings, and then you're hungrier probably a half hour to an hour after that. I'm gonna end with that. So the balance, amazing for insulin sensitivities, enhance glycogen storage from the muscle, takes fat storage, utilized for energy, takes sugar storage, energy. It helps lean body composition, supports healthy cholesterol as well, reduces insulin burden and better glucose handling, and it also helps with appetite control. So if you have not tried the balance, get with the person who invited you on this call and say, I want to give this a try for 30 days, and they will hook you up. So with that, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Dr. Becka in the lab.